somewhere close to minimum wage, you would probably tell me I was full of shit. And I get it. It sounds absurd. When we think of professors
Poor people can divert funds from Netflix and junk food to send their kids to school. At this point, you've got to be trolling. There's no way that's a serious statement. Yo, Marxism is theft. Test user. Thank you for the follow. Poor people can divert. That's what was the fucking billionaire CEO who said, yeah, the economy's a little rough, but maybe you should just stop drinking Starbucks. Like, yeah, clearly you have missed the point. No, just sit them in front of Netflix for their education.
we
I mean, that's what a lot of
imagine
people
old guys
seem
in
to be
tweed
doing
jackets
these
and
days,
middle-aged
but
women in smart shoes who make 80
avocado
to
toast.
180.
Avocado toast goes crazy though. Crazy. Maybe he's right. Don't drink Starbucks. He's right. Starbucks sucks, but it's not. People are not bad. The reason poor people in America are poor is not just because they are bad managing money, dog. Like, I don't know how to explain this to you. Somebody who actively pointed out that the neocons are bad and that you support Pat Buchanan, and you still lack the actual awareness to understand why poor people exist in this country to the extent that they do. Right? We are the richest nation in the history of the world. We have been intentionally, by neocon economic theory, been transferring trillions of dollars of wealth upwards intentionally through displacing the taxation on corporations and businesses and placing upon individual citizens. Avocados here like less than 80 cents. What? What the fuck? America runs on Dunkin'. Yeah, I guess that is the quote. Avocado is about to be expensive as fuck when we deport our agricultural workers and tariff imports. Yeah. Yeah. Soon we will simply not have enough jobs for smart, educated, able, and motivated people. Why? Why? Poor people will exist because we almost no jobs left due to NAFTA and the neocon selling us out to foreign interest. Did I get that right? What do I win? First off, not necessarily. NAFTA is not the main cause of why we have almost no jobs left. We're actually working at pretty much full employment right now, surprisingly enough. Um, NAFTA is a symptom, right? The issue is more the idea that under our business structure, under our economic structure, businesses flee to where they can pay labor the least so that they can compete globally for their products, right? This is one of the reasons America has an incredibly high trade deficit, right? We import products to keep prices relatively low. This is one thing I agree with Marx. In that sense, it seems he was way ahead of his time. Automation, AI, etc. For the purpose of replacing uh, actual labor, not art, possibly. Avocados from hell, dun dun dun. Why are you a test user, and when will you be ready? I was actually curious about that too. I forgot though. Let's close the border and keep scabs from taking American jobs and bring back jobs. Easy peasy. Uh, Deporting people and closing the border will not make your life any better. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, big dog. No businesses coming back. It'd still be cheaper to pay low labor and tariffs than American wages, rent, and taxes. Yeah, the tariffs will not really bring business back to the extent that anyone actually even thinks they will. No economist has even argued that will happen because they will just flee to like Vietnam, where they can still go for lower wages. Like, they're not just going to be like, oh man, we can't go to China or Mexico anymore. Oh man. What you have to fix is literally things like the Milwaukee Springs case or the Bill Disco case, which allow companies to literally flee overseas for cheaper wages. Can I type in my main? I've done nothing wrong, but Twitch does not even allow me to type in my own chat. Damn, bro, you got fucking smoked. Wait, why is the board everyone guy speaking facts? You know, sometimes nihilists have some good points. Sometimes. They're just a little loss of faith, you know? How about putting people that exploit migrants to lower us wages in jail? Like the guy Trump pardoned, just the opposite? Yes. They're also not going to punish any businesses like Purdue, which exploit migrants for cheaper wages. Because that's not the topic. They just want you to dislike other people so that you don't notice who is actually literally fucking siphoning your wealth. Bangladesh is the sleeper agent. Bangladesh will also get a lot more business, yes. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Damn, bro, he capitalized on everything. We are going to be deporting loads of people. The public asked for it. The ball is in Trump's. So, well, to be fair, it was a pretty close election, so the whole public did not ask for it, right? A portion did. Yeah, Trump got elected, but most of them voted for him based on the economy, not on his stance on deportation. Whether he responds to the public pressure or serves his masters. Jesus Christ. Okay, you're just a fucking straight up anti Semite. That's like the 6th time you've made a comment like that. That's crazy. Marxism is just an ideology to justify theft, for the most part. Marxism does not explain how prices are formed. Carl Menger explained this. Oh my god, the libertarian stuff. Marxism cannot even properly explain what money is. Like, guys, this is just funny. What do you mean Marxism doesn't explain what money is, dog? What? It's simple. Money is literally just a fucking a subject to use wealth. It is a way of fucking trading in real time. Like, what are we talking about? No one's fucking arguing over what money is. Let me keep it a buck with you. I love my dog. Yeah, my dog is pretty cute. Hateful anti-humanist, but at least I'm not an idiot Trumper. That's really, he's a fucking idiot Trumper who's just a straight up anti-Semite too, which is just weird. One of those videos got me to realize that Marxism is theft. It says, all right, I have to pee.
$1,000
You
a year,
guys
not including
hammer
healthcare
that one
benefits
out.
and combined months of vacation time. They live comfortable lives, spending their days shaping the minds of the next generation of scholars. They're the torchbearers of academia. They're intellectual elites. But this is a myth. It's made up. Doesn't exist. Well, it does exist. These people aren't unheard of, and if you've been to college, chances are you've had a few professors who fit this description. But this isn't the norm when it comes to teachers in higher ed. It's not even close. Most college and university teachers look less like this and more like this. But before I get into how our economic system forces educators to resort to exhausting and often degrading work because they have no other choice if they want to put food on the table, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Birch. My partner and I recently moved, and when we were looking for a new mattress, we absolutely fell in love with Birch. Birch is a premium mattress in a box company that makes mattresses and sleep products that are stylish, comfortable, and environmentally conscious. Their mattresses are non-toxic, crafted with sustainably sourced organic and natural materials, and they are made right here in America. Birch mattresses don't use any harsh chemicals in manufacturing, so not only are they extremely comfortable, but they're also a great choice if you have sensitive skin like I do. Birch also ensures that their materials are harvested sustainably, and they work with ethical partners that adhere to strict social, environmental, and economic standards, and they've even gotten all of these certifications that show, yes, they are definitely ethically produced and sustainably sourced, can confirm. I got the Birch Luxe mattress, which is a premium version of their original Birch Natural mattress, and I've had it for about 3 months and I absolutely love it. It is super comfortable and it's amazing quality, and it's a product that I know has been made in a way that is good for the earth. You just can't beat that. But the best part about all of this is that Birch delivers your mattress right.
Stupid to hate people for gender and race when you can hate people for being people. I guess I can't entirely argue with you on that one. Yeah, whatever. At least you're not a fucking complete asshole. I'll take it. Marxism theft. Did you get that idea from a recent video? I heard that word right. It's almost like that's the literal American teaching in every fucking form. Straight out of Fortnite and haven't dug into anything. Gonna buy this mattress? Yo, buy that mattress, bro. Think about American football coaches. They're team managers, and I understand it. Marx does not attribute to them any value in producing team's commodity, which is playing good games and wins. Marx didn't speak about American football coaches. How dare he? Wrong that the proletariat can have any real staying power in a state, that everything can be decommodified. Well, the end goal is a stateless society under it, no? So that's where you were wrong on that one. It does not mix with status quo economics. Maybe it's Mr. Menger who is silly? God damn it. The libertarians. Was this video? Proletariat and the problem of unproductive labor. Oh, cuck philosophy. Yeah. Did we chat the other day? Hi, if so. That's actually pretty good. Really read the chapter about money and capital. Most of it some kind of nonsense. People who are like, money is money. What else could Marx write? I understand that you didn't read the nonsense that Marx wrote. Most Marxists didn't read it. Oh, brother. Serious debater, and I read Marx and analyze it. I do not think insulting me makes this discussion any more helpful. Trolling. Marx talks about managers and coaches are managers, right? In an extent of the term. What context? What year? I did look at this a little. No, I mean that much like the USSR, it won't dissolve itself. It just becomes another aristocracy under the guise of worker control. Let's... No. So, the USSR definitely is not a fucking case in communism, to be fair, right? Stalin literally overthrows the Bolsheviks. Like, Stalin pushes them all out. He strongmans them all out. And he takes the dictatorship of the proletariat and makes it the dictatorship of Stalin. Absolutely insane.
Whistling Diesel here.
What happened if the workers won't actually stay in control of the state? I don't disagree. It's incredibly difficult, right? Which is why, you know, it's not like they were saying it's going to happen in one shot, right? You have Trotsky
Flabby
who
refutation
argued that it needs to be
said,
a global,
cheap viewers on
permanent world revolution for it to
connectviewers.ru.
happen, because otherwise another nation will come and stomp it out so that it doesn't spread, right? I'm not saying, yeah, I haven't made any comments about what will happen with it, but what is this? Oswald, what is this? What is this? Just a fucking 18-wheeler? What is this? All central powers will always fight through the throes of its own impending doom. All central powers will always fight through the throes of their own impending doom. Yeah.
I bought a Peterbilt.
Professionally just running cars over?
Sweet. So. Can't believe everything.
Thank you for that, Oswald. Thank you.
To your door, and for free if you are in the US. It comes rolled up in a box, and it is super easy to set up yourself, as long as you don't have a 75-pound German Shepherd who does...
issue. Well, there you go. Did you mean central power in forms of government? Explain your comment, sadist.
...desperately wants to help.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I can move you and...
As Chuddy TV? Ouch. Ouch, bro. It's now become a necessary evil. Why is it a necessary evil, though? You think just the modern state requires it, and modern society in general requires it? Because even if you get into like what the billionaires, right, the Musks and the Teals think, they still think that it will become a more decentralized society. They want it to be a corporate society. If one nation decentralized, another non-decentralized nation will take advantage. Again, which like is why Trotsky came up with the theory of permanent world revolution, but also even Marx said that he predicted that if it was going to work anywhere, it would be best in a place with a thick bureaucracy like America, right? And that obviously hasn't even materialized. Hence, the fact that America has spent its fucking life doing everything it can to prevent that theory from coming around. Decentralized air conditioning? God damn it. God damn it.
At the same time. When you get your mattress, you also get 2 Eco-Rest pillows made from recycled plastic bottles, and they are genuinely some of the softest pillows I have ever used. Each Birch mattress comes with a 25-year warranty, and you also get a 100-night sleep trial, so you get more than 3 months to make sure that you love it. When I talk about the exploitation of professors, I am not talking about those tweed coat-wearing tenured professors who make 6-figure salaries. I am talking about an entire
Exactly, Arberlin.
Category of professors who you probably don't even know exist. I'm talking about the type of professor that I was before I became a YouTuber. I'm talking about what's called...
Going to raise your energy bill. Markets are good for non-essential goods. Why are markets the best thing for that, though, right? What exactly is really selling that?
Contingent faculty. So, who are these contingent faculty? Well, broadly speaking, academic jobs in the US can be broken down into tenure track and non-tenure track. So, tenure is a special academic role that marks you as being an important and permanent member of the faculty. It makes it harder for you to get fired, allows you more.
Not everything is abundant enough to be decommodified. Yeah. It's located in Volume 1, Part 3, Chapter 7, Section. Jesus fucking Christ. Bro is a debate lord. That is how I came to my conclusion. There may be other places, but it would take me more time to study. Markets are good for everything. Parents lived in a former socialist state. There is almost nothing in any store. What country do they come from? Out of curiosity. To be clear, I like syndicalist markets, not capitalist ones. Yeah, so the critique exists. What if it was just like secondary market funded by universal basic income for non-essentials? You said you liked the social democracy principles, right? Schufa-Prüfer? Bulgaria? Interesting. Yeah. So Bulgaria is also a very difficult example, right? Bulgaria is a Balkan nation that has never been well off, that lived under the guise of the Soviet Union, which was not admitted to the international trade system that was butting under America. I don't know enough to say for sure, but I'm interested in the idea. Yeah. Yeah. But it's, again, it's just like a buttress. What is essential good, and who would make them if they can't have profit from it? You want to force people to work to make essential goods. It wasn't the same in Soviet Union. No. But it was literally part of the system, right? It had to trade with them. That was all it really had access to. Inevitable if capitalism wishes to continue in the face of AI automation. You think so? I don't think they'd be nearly that kind. I don't think they have shown that they would be nearly that kind. And I think it's very telling by the union battles that go on over automation, where they ensure not to actually give them any protections against automation. Subsidization, my dude. Can't believe the sales on Steam right now. Absolutely insane. Put in 24 hours in Witcher 3 in 2 days. How much should you buy it for? What?
More academic freedom, gets you a pretty significant raise, and comes with the implicit understanding that you're being hired on a permanent, or at least long-term, basis.
You had it.
On the tenure track side, there are various tiers of
Witcher
professors.
3 is mid. Well, it's a decent game, but again, it's fucking 10 years old. Bro's playing it for the
From
first time.
assistant professors at the bottom to associate professors who have more freedom and can start applying for tenure, to full professors, or just professors, who almost always have tenure.
Yeah, I know.
Get to teach the upper level classes, and also often have administrative roles in their departments. On the non-tenure track side, we have adjunct professors, lecturers, instructors, in-residence professors, postdocs, and TAs. These are the people who work either part-time or full-time, mostly focus on teaching rather than research.
I don't remember it being buggy. The story is pretty long, though.
Have year by year or
I thought it was entertaining.
semester by
Third playthrough, what the fuck?
semester contracts. These are our contingent faculty. These positions, unlike the tenure track ones, do not come with any guarantees. The implicit understanding is that you are being hired on a part-time, as-needed basis, and the school can just choose to not renew your contract at the end of the semester. So up through the 1960s, the ratio of tenure track to non-tenure track looked like this. But then things started to change in the 1970s, and now...
You want to force other people to work more so you can take things from them and give it to others in taxes. I don't think that's what he said at all. At all, actually. Unless you're addressing the UBI in particular. But, again, that was in relation to AI. Like, at no point has he said that he's on the far left in any of those conversations. No high horse here. Wait, Vixel, isn't your argument a, oh, didn't you say you're an anarcho-capitalist? Bro's just having fun being a little debate lord. Whether the material factors or the processes are of normal quality or not depends not upon the laborer, but entirely upon the capitalist. It does not add this activity to surplus value and calls it labor surplus. What are you even replying to at this point? What was the last thing they said? Wait, what are you replying to? You're just making that comment in general? Like, you're just like, I want you to know this exact quote? Like, okay. All taxes should be abolished. No, actually. No taxation with representation doesn't mean no taxes. I can't spell. Unbelievable, Oswald. Unbelievable. But, it kind of does to Americans. That is like literally the lesson that Americans have taken from that. Again, even though that's not entirely what the revolution was about, that is the lesson we have taken from it. I think the best quote I've ever heard from a historian was that the Americans didn't mean no taxation without representation. They meant no taxation with or without representation. Twitch does not work as reply on this browser. Sorry, I use reply, but does not show as reply. Oh. You just replying to like 7 messages before? Hey, I'm sitting on the toilet? Oh shit.
It looks like this. The ratio did a full 180, and now studies are showing that 70% or more of all college faculty are contingent. Now, of course, these numbers are true broadly speaking, but when you get down to individual schools, they can vary widely. Contingent faculty are much less common at the Ivy Leagues and at small private liberal arts colleges, where the number is between 15 and 40% depending on the school. Then we have our big research universities that sit between 50 and 60%.
We got a toilet mod, literally. Yeah, Vixel is very big on the idea of communities that support each other, which I found very funny, but he does not. Because that sounds an awful lot like something else. But, he just likes to call it anarcho-capitalism.
Contingent, and smaller public universities between 60 and 75%. And finally, community colleges, where we have a whopping 75 to 98% contingent faculty rate. Like, literally, I looked up the data for the community college near my hometown, and it has 98% contingent faculty. It's absurd. Okay, a lot of faculty are contingent. Like, almost 3/4 of all college professors are contingent. But what does that actually mean? Well, it means that almost 3/4 of all college professors...
Libertarianism is literally communism with capitalism, which is why it's like such a strange argument. It's just like, they're just kind of like, well, both you were kind of right. This state thing kind of sucks, but there's some good parts about it. And it's like, okay.
Are making barely minimum wage, and sometimes even less than minimum wage. According to the American Association of University Professors, the average pay for contingent faculty is $2,700 per class. And by per class, I don't mean that every time they hold a class they get $2,700. I mean that for each entire section they teach, they get that much across the whole semester. So $2,700 per 3-credit-hour class is the average, and when I was an instructor at a large Catholic research university in the Midwest, that's about what I was paid. But that's just the average, and just like
an independent man with independent methods, you are an independent man.
Proportion of contingent faculty, this number varies from school to school. Some schools can pay upwards of $5,000 or $6,000 per class or more, and others... Well, when I was an adjunct professor at a local...
The whole thing starts with, we shall therefore in the first place have to consider the labor process independently of the particular form it assumes under given social conditions, which may explain the confusion. Oh, wallow text, you're alright. You have my permission. If you really want to engage with a debate, Lord, you knock yourself out.
Community college, I was paid $1,500 per class.
So tear down this wall, Mr. Gorbachev.
$1,500 across an entire semester. That's $100 a week. And sure, you might say that's...
The easier way to show Marx is effective theft. He is theft. His genius and wrote it in such a way that for a not careful reader it kind of makes sense, but if you dig deeper, the idea of theft is all over his writings. I am just starting. Doggo, shut up. Just shut up. To abolish the state, you need to have the prerequisite material conditions to allow decentralization on campus. ANCAP is pure fantasy that you can keep. You went to tearing down walls to building them. You can keep everything the same, get rid of the state, and everything would be better. Despite pre-regulated capitalism allowing literally child black lung coal miners. Yeah, that's libertarians don't seem to have too big of an opinion on that happening in America right now. The peeling back on child labor laws. Yeah, they don't seem to be too big opponents to that one. That's for fucking sure.
Just one class. Most teachers don't just teach one class per semester. The usual teaching load is 4-4, or 4 classes in the fall and another 4 classes in the spring. So if you have 8 classes a year at $2,700 per class, that comes out to $21,600. And this is all pre-tax, too, so keep that in mind that no one is actually bringing home this much money. Now, that's definitely low. It's below the poverty line for families of 3 or more, but as an individual, it's not the worst. But let's do some math to figure.
God damn it, fucking sadist. Doesn't mean we can. I'm glad you have some level of humanity standing there. Yeah, good. And with capitalism, Marxism does expect capitalists to actually organize labor and provide them with means of production, but is not included in value that production creates. Those kids who worked in the 19th century would die if they don't, because there was literally not enough food. And now that there is enough food, what is it? It's something like 9 million people die a year because they don't have access to food under the very system that has created enough food, right? Even in America, there's fucking literal, oh God, what's the number? How many kids are starving in America? Let's do food scarcity in America. Hunger and poverty in America, right? Bum, bum, bum. About 1 in 7 households in America, again, the bastion of wealth, experience food insecurity, a lack of access to affordable, nutritious diet. 47.4 million. We have 330 million citizens. 47.4 have poor access to food. Specifically because our country creates artificial scarcity by throwing food out intentionally. Food deserts because grocery stores tend to avoid poor areas. Also true. Don't understand the economic term inelastic goods or perverse profit incentive. How many die? Definitely depends on the. Let's see. Respective videos misinterpretation. $5 general, 0 grocery stores. All right, National Library of Medicine. Let's see. 103,000 cases of malnutrition. And this is total number of deaths due to malnutrition, right? Bump, 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 bump. Yeah. God, I don't want to do the math on that. 30, 70. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's pretty bad for the most wealthy nation in human history. I'm going to keep it a buck there. Does not expect capitalists to provide or do anything. They can go and play outside or whatnot. Why did Marx wrote Why did Marx wrote whether the material factors of the processes are of normal quality or not depends not upon the laborer, but entirely upon the capitalist. The issue with Marx on the surplus text you linked. I love that you're like still engaging the debate, Lord. That's actually crazy. Live Taylor Swift Chad show. Oh
Figure out what the actual hourly wages are per class. So most classes are 3 credit hours, which means that you have 3 hours of class per week. Across a 15-week semester, that is 45 hours, and that's just class time. You also need to factor in prep work and grading, which can be anywhere from 2 to 6 additional hours for every class
all night long. Only the ones that go crazy.
Session. Let's err on the lighter side and say that your class time plus your prep time comes out to 10 hours a week. That is 150 hours over a 15-week semester, and if we divide our average pay by those 150 hours, we get an hourly rate of $18 per hour. If you taught at my old community college, though, you would only be making $10 an hour. And that's if you're spending as little time on work as possible.
Shocked I'm not banned yet. At least you haven't insulted people, That's kind of my line. And hey, if they want to argue with you, they want to argue with you. I don't give a fuck. I'm not playing the debate lord game personally. Personally, I'm good, but, that will depend on the context of the text you're referencing. Simple. Yeah. Means you're playing 3 songs on repeat for 8 hours. I didn't say that. It's like 4 songs, first off. Build an island, exile all Republicans and libertarians to it, maybe even live feed it as a Lord of the Flies entertainment. Well, yeah, usually people insult me, but that's your goal, no? Right? Like, that's your goal, isn't it? That's what you are trying to have happen. So are you mad when it does, or do you like giggle to yourself? No such thing as a capitalist and Marxism. Very basic, really. Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah.
If you spend more time on planning, reading, prepping, grading, especially if you're a writing teacher who has to grade essays, not to mention the end of semester rush with exams and papers, you can spend upwards of 300 or 400 hours each semester, which brings those hourly rates down to minimum wage or less.
If people insult me, the discussion is over, so no, it is not a goal. you do, and maybe this is an important moment for self-reflection for all of us. You do understand that choosing your name in particular isn't the worst thing, right? The name is one, you believe whatever you want, but it's obvious that you were doing it to start the antagonism, right? But then immediately coming in and posting walls of text with the exact page and like a chapter of quotes is like grounds to get insulted no matter your argument. Like you are aware of that, right? We can both recognize that. That's like a strange way to go about things, Giggle to myself every time I start getting way too into CK3. Yeah, you just fucking love that game. These people claim to be humanists. Funny. God damn it. He did kind of get you on that one. Yeah, he did also. Sadist did come in here and say he proposes abortion for all children. Like, that was literally his argument. So I guess you didn't really get him. You kind of got everyone else. Why did you write that? And where? What if my name is actually telling the truth? Say, I would have a username Earth is round. Would you make the same conclusion? If you were intentionally going into like, what is it, Kyrie Irving's chats, and with that name, then now you understand the antagonism, right? You're creating antagonism. I didn't say your name is like, obviously it's a fucking name. I don't care, but you're creating antagonism. You are creating friction intentionally. And if you deny that, I'm kind of a little worried about your state of mind. I don't care. But obviously some people will. Like, that's your goal. Earth is round but hollow to be a debate lord? That would actually, yeah, that would go crazy. That would go crazy. Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord. What is... God damn it, Oswald. What the fuck? Bro just
For the
starts
average
praying.
pay, that puts you at $9 an hour, just over minimum wage. And that
Earth is flat and round. There you go.
can be even less depending on how much...
Okay. Let's do the think tank.
This video. In today's video, we're going to look at how the political right uses a network of fake research institutes to shape the news. Doing so is going to involve touching upon a number of deeply important
An inverted
topics,
sphere?
including Russia's invasion of Ukraine
sure.
and the ongoing
Yeah,
conservative moral panic about critical race theory. But I want to start with a story that's altogether much...
Like, am I wrong, test user? Like, you do get the extent to which you are intentionally trying to be antagonistic. So saying that, like, most people insult you it's not surprising. Like, I'm gonna be honest. And if any state does not interfere, well, we would have medieval Ireland, but better. I mean, I'd be curious to see how it played out. I'd be curious to see how it played out for the social reasons, you know? I'd be curious. I'm down for people showing up on an island that, you know, preferably is uninhabited and, you know, playing out their little ideas. Let's see what happens. Tension, yes, absolutely, but not being insulted and hated. You're actually super respectful, so people do not have a negative reaction. I appreciate that. And, like, honestly, as long as you're not saying crazy shit, I don't care if you want to debate about, you know, ideas. Ideas are meant to be debated on, right? But I also would like you to understand the extent to which you are literally being antagonistic to people. So you can't really be too surprised if people get, you know, uptight. Like, to me, it seems like it's your goal. Insults are great, but if you want to debate, do it right. It's quite a spectrum, and it goes all low on Twitch. Yeah. Now, give me the context if you're still. Yeah, Arbuin has asked like 4 times. What's up, Bannock? What's going on? I mean, anyone can mine for quotes and a reading to make an argument. You're no different. Well, yeah, that's like debate lord stuff, though. I'm not talking about his debate lord stuff. There's debate lord stuffs on every fucking side of the aisle. We're talking specifically about his aiming for like a specific line of debate lord, right? Oh shit, not medieval Ireland. Please, medieval Poland? Oh no. Oh no. Crazy shit is my meme. Scrape out all the and yeet him against a wall. That sadist guy again. Yeah, hey, he has gotten a lot calmer, is all I'm gonna say. You know, at first I was very worried. I thought it was gonna go very south. I get that. I don't even God damn. Alright, he's lost the calm. See, and the calm is gone. God damn it. Throw my ball against the wall. What ball? All I know is his favorite hobby is calling OnlyFans women's hoes. It's like his spare time activity. Does that surprise me? No. No. Is that a really poor assessment of the situation? Yeah. Oh yeah, serfdom, so love. Even Prussian farmers was 5 times better. Oswald's just making a blanket joke. Yeah. He ain't literally meaning medieval Poland is better than medieval Ireland. Oswald just says shit.
stupider.
Yeah, super powerful, especially when it became the big old Commonwealth. And then it realized it was in between 4 of the most powerful states in Europe. Yeah, unlucky. It merely exists to cause thinkery. Yeah, true. Commonwealth, yeah.
It was a little over a month ago, and I just finished a
Back
long
when the Ukraine was just part of Lithuania. My, how things have changed.
day of video editing, when I wandered into my living room, slumped down on the sofa, and more out of habit than any real enthusiasm.
God, what is that? What a stupid fucking... Oh my lord. Serfdom in the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was worse than in Russia. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's pretty similar in both, to be fair, but what if I view people who do not see Marxism as theft to be victims of misinformation who I want to help? If they choose to open their minds, could you accept that interpretation and think of... No, because if you are actually trying to help people and teach them, the first step is to not make them put up walls. And you would know this if, like, maybe you genuinely don't. I don't know. I'm not going to make the assessment, right? But to teach people, the first thing you have to do is break down walls. You have to reach them on a human level. Otherwise, they don't give a fuck about your opinion. You're just some dude in a chat yelling quotes at them, right? If you really wanted to teach people, if you really wanted to change their mind, you have to act like a regular person. You can't open up antagonistic starts to conversations. I believe Cossacks were Ukrainians back then. Cossacks were in Ukraine, but it's more of the steppe peoples, right? I don't think so, but then again, I don't know how it was in Russia at the same time. How would you suggest to do that? I'm not insulting anybody. I'm being respectful. You are. Thanks for the follow, sadist. You are being respectful, except you never answered Arberlin's question. So, that's a little disrespectful. Let's go in the context, please. Yes, also saying that they're misinformed when they're asking you for context is a little rough, but how would you go about that? I would suggest changing the name. Maybe change the name. Seem a little more common name. Maybe something you're interested in. Maybe like a football player you like or something. You were reading my chats and I cannot answer everybody. I'm not yeah, but you're talking to them directly. Answer my question. It's a fucking dumb question. You're just putting up like literal absurdities to try and get me to make stupid comments. Like, I'm good, dog. That Eastern Slavic Greek alphabet out of here. Vic, so you're not saying crazy shit, are you? You know damn well I can't read that stuff. So demanding, right? Do only Roman letters. No, but like, then I would pretend to be someone I am not, and then people would accuse me I was lying to them. People are going to accuse you that you're lying to them regardless, right? Do you think you've changed a lot of people's minds going about it the way you have? Even having pointed out that a lot of people insult you out of curiosity? I had like half a semester of Russians in college. That's about it. Actually? Huh. Why is it dumb? It's just a fucking trick question. It's just stupid. There's no point. Not many, but some. Not many. Do you think you could change more if you weren't openly antagonistic? Or frictional, or whatever you would like to refer to it as? Obama is black? Yes, Obama is black. What's up, Micro? What's going on? Surely there are different schools of economic thought that all have pros and limitations. Yes. Yeah. There are a lot of people, different people with a lot of different opinions, right? He's the whitest. What the hell? I opened some people's minds that neither MAGA nor Marxists are evil. I consider that success. No, everybody wants what's best for them, right? That's the idea, more by and large. Except, Marxism is more grounded in a societal structure, right? Whereas MAGA is very much, they want what's best for them. They fear that which they don't know, and they hate the institutions. Thought he was Mormon. No, Mitt Romney was the Mormon dog. That's another. Yeah, imagine Mitt Romney became president, bro. My God.
Enthusiasm booted up the Twitter app on my phone.
But even that, like posting like direct quotes in chat is okay, but being like, I got this on chapter 4, section 3, page 32, it's comes off a little strange. Like, it's good to know your shit, but sometimes knowing, pointing out that you know your shit comes off wrong. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Mormons wear funny underwear, so I hate that religion. For their underwear, bro. God damn it. Obama loves drinking water. Jeremiah, not Jeffrey. Jesus, I mix up names too much. Oh, Jeremiah, right. The thirsty boy. Oh, God.
And on doing so, I was met by a tweet sharing this incredible headline. The moon should be privatized to help wipe out poverty on Earth.
Wait, what?
Economists say.
Wait, what?
Just one more
How did we get here from think tanks?
time in case
Liberal only for the gentry. A nobleman could kill his serfs just for fun, and everyone thought that this was normal. Even in Russia, it was forbidden to kill serfs without a reason, unless you wanted to start a war and just, as you were retreating away from the other army, just kill the serfs for fun. That was very well accepted in Russia. 100% correct. People would feel I'm antagonistic no matter what username I choose. This definitely helps because it's super clear where I stand. All right, I'm glad you saw my point, and then we're just like, nah. Whether the material factors or the process are of normal quality or not depends not upon the laborer, but entirely upon the capitalist, which does read like a description, not a suggestion. True. Jeremiah Wright was that preacher dude that did his famous goddamn. Oh, yeah, I do remember that actually. Yeah. Got shit for being associated with him. Yeah. So what? Some people like Robin Hood. People have different values in politics. Belief that there is a definitive political answer to which everyone can be persuaded is naive, in my opinion. Which, is why most of them try to enforce it, right? But you're not wrong. Actually, yeah, out of curiosity, Marxism is theft. What is your favorite economic system? White people won't say that they love their race if a black person's life depended on it. What? The what? Like, what are you talking about, bro? Nobody's having this conversation. Like, you're just saying stuff. Username first, yeah. It's intentionally provocative, right? And your first goal is to bring down people's defenses. Actually, sadist. No, not everybody thinks like you, bro. Correctly identified that it's just a matter of time that people will conclude I'm antagonistic. I tried to repose trust. It did not work just as well. Some kind of social capitalism. I'm a huge... Oh, so you like social democracy, but not going the full way. Huh. Why? Out of curiosity? Why? You think it's worked really well in Europe? You think it's gone well during like the New Deal era in America? Think those were successful? What do you mean? Cannot killed. Russia had death penalties. I cannot find any mention of what you refer to. Oh, the poor treatment of serfs. Yeah, there is actually pretty well documented poor treatment of serfs. Oh, he said that Russia didn't have it. Oh, I'm not sure. Country's economic system do you like? Ubisoft makes mid games. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Point to a specific declaration, not vague. Oh no, we're all becoming debate lords. No, guys, we don't want to all be debate lords. Wait, wait, chill. Right wing people come to my chat and they say, like, thank you. I agree. But then I say I support UBI and they're super confused. This is pretty funny, actually. Yeah, I can't imagine a lot of right wing people are won over on that topic because, especially in America, like, you're taught to be uh, so antagonistic towards the very words, right? I'm a diabetic lord. You are. I'm not debating. I want him to. No, I know. I'm just fucking with you. Commonwealth existed for like 300. Yeah. Yeah. The good old Shem.
You didn't catch that. The moon should be privatized.
I think UBI is Marxism and it is so wrong. Where are you from, test user? I'm gonna call you test user because like I don't know what the fuck else to say, right? Are you a type 1 or type 2 lord? That's pretty good. Wait, that's pretty fucking good. Paints Russia as milk and honey and shit. Oh, well, he's Ukrainian, He's Ukrainian and he's from the East. Like, I don't know what to tell you on this one. Anyway, I gave you debating ample time. Now it's my turn. It ain't theft if you just redefine property. Case closed. One with facts and logic. Good job, Berlin. Good job. Poland. I grew up under communism. Was that communism? No. First election was voting against communists in 1989. Interesting. At the time, death penalties were everywhere, and death penalties have nothing to do with serfdom. You kids cited specifically. Do you like? You still live in Poland now? Do you like how its system works now? Oh no, they're speaking Polish and everything. Now we got Ukrainian speaking and Polish speaking. Elements of communism and those failed. What is an element of communism if it's still a state, right? Thank you for the follow, Micropenis. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream, Micropenis. I have to say, you're probably not the only one in here with a micropenis.
Help wipe out poverty on Earth.
Move to the US.
Economists
Oh,
say.
so you're getting a real brain fuck. American education is otherworldly. How do you like talking to Americans in your time here? I bet you really enjoy that shit. Americans here, we want to give people health care, and they're like, what are you, a fucking communist? We think people should have their rights protected. What are you, a fucking communist? For example, there were no private companies in Poland except for farming. So you're pro-private company aspect. That's the social dem aspect. Okay. Former East German, those were trash regimes, and that not what Marx was on about. I mean, again, Stalin imposed regimes, right? I'm British to declare that. Okay, fair enough. I'm naturalized U.S. citizen, so I feel like I'm an American. Oh no, I'm not saying you're not. I was asking what your opinion is on like full-on Americans, right? Would you like to say happy birthday, Mark Twain? Yeah, happy birthday, Mark Twain. Communism is an issue in Hollywood. You sound like fucking McCarthy, bro. What year is it, Gob? What year do you live in? Yo, what's up, Platinum? How's it going, bro? This is kind of late. No worries. It's in the kitchen. What are you making? Anything good? The current one. America pays for my healthcare, my defense, my rent. Everything's great. Well, I'm glad one of us has made it out on top of this system, huh? I'm glad one of us is making something here.
The tweet was from the official account of The Independent.
With America's greatest writers, yeah, he's definitely. I mean, obviously, he's the most well-known name, right? Communal GPRY. Not the most efficient shit. No.
A British newspaper which occupies a similar-ish position.
My toilet is red once in a while. God damn it. Berlin, thank you for the follow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you handling the debate lord for me. I do. That's, not something I touch, so I'm glad you handled that shit. You really held your own. I tried, and you're not debating, just expressing an opinion. I guess do better. I'll be back. Read that in a rough German accent. Have a good night, Berlin. Take care. Just a baked potato with some tuna, mayo, onion, sweet corn. Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. Oh yeah, I forgot, like, people who aren't American eat tinier meals. That would be like, a quarter of my dinner. I certainly cannot understand who someone who never lived under something resembled communism, like myself, can support. How someone who never lived under something resembling communism can support it? It is absolute shock to me. I thought Cold War pretty much settled the issue, which system is better. You think the Cold War settled which system was better, or settled which system was better at stomping out the other one? Is that your takeaway from it? I'm born and bred Polish, so I got one up on you. Wait, you were born in Poland, sheep poster? Oh shit. Remember to report the Reds. God damn it. Yeah, I'm Polish. Okay. What you refer to is a specific type of communist ideology, Marxist Leninism, and it's not the only one, nor socialism is immediate. Yeah. Which, again, is an effort to really complicate and obfuscate the entirety of it, right? Reading my messages and is very respectful, so I report. Let's start there next time and talk a bit about Cold War propaganda. Bye. The amount we eat makes America strong. Yeah, bro. Yeah. It was an economic war. Capitalism was one. Was it only an economic war though? Right? So why did the Soviet Union eventually collapse, right? What were the greatest causes to the Soviet collapse? And why did America not collapse under the same topic? Can I have Polish sausage? The other half don't taste good, so you throw it away, right? Dirty bastard, get off. What the fuck? I'm a Buddhist communist? Okay, yeah, hey, fuck it, man. Economy? Capitalism won. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about the neocons, right? The neocons are who really defeat the Soviet Union, right? The neocons were right. Irving Kristol was the founder of neoconservatism. He started as a Trotskyist who became incredibly disillusioned with the idea of Joseph Stalin and the dictatorship that formed under him. So he ended up with CIA and business funding, developing what this is actually about, think tanks, and pushing into politics a group of like-minded individuals who were once liberals and believed that their purpose was to co-opt the Republican Party because Republicans were too dumb to understand anything. and use it to destroy the Soviet Union. Underway for like over a decade, yes. It begins in the 80s, really. Initial impetus were hunger strikes of meat factory workers, then ship factory workers, yes. Yes. Way after everyone to see the writing on the wall. Was Gorbachev a neocon? That's not the point, right? What can I say? I love the Eastman. Don't know about law. Is a reformist? Yeah. Right. Okay. So the neocons come up with this idea. Richard Pipe is actually the main one who comes up with this idea under the direction of George Bush Sr. Richard Pipe comes up with a strategy to defeat the Soviet Union. It is the militarization of the American economy, which will lock the Soviet Union into the security dilemma, right? Will destroy the idea of detente that Henry Kissinger fought for. It will destroy detente, re-antagonize existence with the Soviet Union, and lock them into the security dilemma. It's a highly divisive figure in Russia, but I vote by the West. As I understand, Cold War raced for military domination, just like World War II, it became war of attrition, which side will be able to support its military complex in Soviet Union. My reading of it collapsed because it could not keep up, at least from Poland's perspective. That's how it looked. I'll look into it, but I never heard of any law. Okay, right. So Richard Pipe argues that America has lost the race, that the Soviet Union has so many nukes and missiles that America can't keep up. So what we need to do is military production, time for them, not the federal government, meaning there's not as much money to go around. I need to sleep. Have a good night, Vic, so stay safe. Right? And to do this, to up military spending while cutting taxes, right? This is the neocon issue. Their economic theory is to displace the burden of taxation off of businesses and corporations so that they have more money to fund military programs and to place the burden on the individual so that wealth trickles up, so that wealth flows upward, right? This is one of the reasons the American economy is so hollowed out and that we have incredible wealth inequality, right? We did that to ourselves to defeat the Soviet Union. The case you're referring to is failure to act, not that political law allows it. Military spending makes money? Yes. Yeah, military expenditures are technically good for GDP, but they hollow out your economy and increase inequality. Anyway, so the Soviet Union does the same thing. We up our military spending to 8% at the time. Only when you were at the time. Yes, the businesses love it. Businessmen love it, right? Everybody else, not so much. We up our GDP spending on military productionism to around 8%, right? The Soviets, to counter it, up theirs to around 24%. They have a lower economy, they have a smaller economy, so they have to up it to a larger extent. This is difficult, but it doesn't break them, right? What breaks them is their rate of consumption plummets. America manages to maintain an artificially high rate of consumption during this military expenditure increase. A lot from its spending on military. UK wouldn't obtain the same thing if we tripled our spending. Exactly. Right. So to maintain consumption, a high rate of consumption, because consumption is king, right? That is why you are spammed with ads. That is why McDonald's exists everywhere. Consumption is what really kickstarts the economy. Racing to outspend the other, capitalism got money from taxing citizens, and socialism was stealing from citizens. In my view, capitalism did not get its money from taxing citizens. We cut taxes horrendously during this period. My view, socialism lost because there was no way to steal from anybody anymore. Again, it was first-hand observations from Poland experience. Economic system was unworkable. So let me finish, right? So what you have is consumption, the artificial consumption. This is the birth of America's trade deficit. This is what the Soviet Union did not do because it didn't have access to do it. The birth of America's trade deficit starts in the Reagan era for this same reason. We begin importing goods en masse from places like West Germany, South Korea, Japan, the bastions of manufacturing. That is when you start seeing American businesses flee overseas so that they can create goods for cheap, ship them home, so that the now impoverished lower classes of America can buy them, even if they take out debt to do it. This doesn't happen in Russia. Russia does not have access to an international trading system because it didn't win its proxy wars. Gonna go poo? Have fun, micropenis. Right? It doesn't happen in Russia. So the consumption rate in Russia plummets. It goes down to like 30, 40%. because Russia, you are right, can't stock the shelves because they don't have access to a working international system. They only have access to them and their proxies. America, following the Bretton Woods Conference, right, and establishing gold as the standard, was able to hold access to an international system. Not just that, even if people wanted to ship to Russia, yes. Sanctions, intentionally, yes. Russia was not allowed access to the international system. Does not reward innovators. There's an argument to be made there, right? Because technically that's the point. It's that you don't need to endlessly innovate to succeed, right? There's an argument to be made there. In Poland, socialism is a dirty word associated strictly with the USSR, and primarily with the Marxist-Leninists, which bases its whole state apparatus on one-party state control. Yeah. So that's why he shits on social. No, he can shit on socialism all he wants. We're just talking about like what actually collapsed the Soviet Union at this point, right? But I appreciate the input, she poster. Has done much innovating, yeah, which is a good point. So, but China is mostly doing it specifically out of a realization that hampered the Soviet Union quite a bit, right? You're saying he speaks about one aspect of it. You're right. Must innovate all the time. I would disagree on that. Well, if the end goal is right, for the end goal for a communist theory is that you would not have to, because if everyone is communist, you won't have to. The competition is ended. There is no imperial competition anymore, right? The issue with the Soviet Union falling behind in innovation is entirely the fact that they had to engage in that imperial competition. Quite a thoughtful streamer. I appreciate that, dog. Ironically, Marxist-Leninism created anything but a classless society entrenched in elite class. Yes, which also was kind of the argument for what would happen, right? And this is getting more into like the details of like Lenin and Trotsky's theories for what the Soviet Union would be. I'm not even talking about that right now, right? We could do that maybe some other time. But again, so this happens, and even the Soviet administrators who were in charge of watching the economy noted this is the reason they really couldn't keep up. This is what really hampered them, right? Now, America is acting as the central bank. It is acting as the lender of last resort for the world. So America is able to take out this mass debt, and no one can tell it to pay. The Soviet Union also doesn't have access to the extent of debt that America does because everybody else is trading on the dollar. Nobody else could afford for America to fail, right? So this comes to Reagan enacting the Plaza Agreement and collapsing the Japanese economy solely to keep the American economy running, or to increase interest rates on places like Argentina and Mexico, places that, had they collapsed because of the interest rates, probably would have collapsed the American economy. But they didn't collapse, specifically because Reagan made sure to keep the Soviets out of Central America, right? This is the case of El Salvador and Nicaragua. This is why Reagan funded the Contras. He was specifically trying to keep the Soviets, it's also the Cuban Missile Crisis has a lot to do with this, to keep the Soviets out of Central America, because had the Soviets been able to get to Mexico, had they been able to destabilize Mexico, America would not have been able to maintain its debt. The economy would have collapsed, right? The collapse of a major debtor would have literally ruined the American economy at this point. This is one of the reasons that America was so engaged in doing some pretty horrendous things in Central America during this period. Was a Soviet invention to excuse its atrocities and state apparatus. Marx had shit to do with it, yes. Right, so the Soviet Union falls apart due to literally this plethora of problems created by the neocons, created and enforced by the neocons, right? Elliot Abrams is the man responsible for most of the Central American policy, a bona fide neocon, right? So, yes, there's all these issues through internal pressure created through economic pressure, right? And this has always been America's argument, right? This is what we have said about Nicaragua. This is what we said about Chile. This is what we talk about now with China. We want to throttle the economy to the point that the domestic situation becomes volatile. not sustainable because of its corruptions and inefficiencies that were being increased exponentially to push the military conflict that they thought was going to inevitably come, right? Satellite states rebelling for good reason, yeah, because they ended up having to use like strong state repression to actually keep them in check, which didn't work. Obviously, it always backfires. So you have this like extensive list of problems that go into it that, you know, it doesn't really disprove one system or the other. It just becomes a competition between two nations, right? This doesn't prove the validity of capitalism, right? The capitalist system was working under a system that had that guaranteed lender of last resort in America. They were the basin of the international trade system, right? Defeating the Soviet Union was the step needed for America to incorporate the entirety of the world in its international trade system. Did as much imperialism as the US did, it just lost the war. And China is now the main adversary in that war for hegemony. Yes, well, China and Russia again in a funny turn of events, right? But really, America's adversaries for hegemony are anybody who could take regional hegemony, anybody who could become a regional power. A regional power would threaten America's place. Lender market is part of capitalism, so it's part of it, right? To an extent, right? So an international trading system, even under more socialist, right? If you're talking social democracy, is still going to require such a thing. That's why even BRICS is struggling to figure out the idea of who to make the reserve currency. Prefer the West over anything China on aggregate. It really depends on the topic, that's for sure. Like America faltering on NATO and EU becoming independent? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Like if Trump pulls out of NATO, actually, and isn't just joking about saying things like that to add negotiation pressure, literally an autocracy. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you on that for sure, obviously, right? But I would fucking you would be completely wrong if you're going to sit here and tell me that China doesn't have better fucking infrastructure than America, right? If you want to go on the autocracy part, fine, but America is also an oligarchy. So, like, what are we competing with at this point? Does not really have socialism does not have really lender markets. So I would say that was the problem, and many other things. Yeah, it gave America something to fall back on, right? But my point is that doesn't necessarily make the system more valid, right? It just shows that the competition between states still took place, as was the argument at the beginning of the Soviet Union. Which, again, you want to get into Trotsky's argument. He didn't want the Soviet Union to be the bastion of communism. He wanted the Soviet Union to lock America into a conflict, an ideological conflict that would cause both of them to become capitalist hellholes. And, you know, it in a way, he kind of got what he wanted. So, which, you know, makes it funny that the early neocons were also Trotskyists, but its infrastructure ignores a lot of health and safety protocols. Dog, you're saying that in the era of Donald Trump, we are about to pull regulations off of everything, bro. We are about to yank them off of fucking vaccines. Like, I get your point. Your point is valid. Like, let me say very clear. But this, like, the West is doing things better is not the argument. You can critique people without being like, but this one's better. Because it's bad in its own fucking ways. Soviet countries which traded with each other were a weaker bloc that Western countries would trade with each other. But Western countries weren't only trading, America was not only trading with Western countries. America had a plethora of new vassals after World War II, right? Neoliberalism better than the US? Yeah, that's pissing off a lot of Americans, that's for sure. America had access to places like the Congo. They had pushed the Soviet Union out of the Congo. That's hard resources, right? America had access to Indonesia. They had access to the Philippines, to Japan, to South Korea, right? America had access to much more than the West. The Soviet bloc was restrained in what it had. And most of what it had was living under legitimate authoritarian systems, like, as you've noted, Poland, right? Where it was not productive, where it did not actually have a competitive nature, right? Give cheap loans and make smaller countries indebted to it so it can seize more control over their resources. Now it is famous for chemical spills from Chinese factories. Yeah, I mean, and they were famous under American control for child labor, child slavery. Country cannot exist and develop without help from the outside. That's actually a capitalist argument in general, but that's also an economic argument at its base. Countries do better with foreign foreign investment, right? We know that. Like, that is factual proof, right? The only reason South Korea really developed well was the extent of foreign investment into it. Extremely limited in today's world. Access is a benefit regardless. Yes, but the difference is foreign capital is more willing to enter, right? Isolationism won't get you far. No. Especially not in a world that is not isolationist. In a world that is isolationist, there's a conversation, right? Which, again, is very curious that Trump seems to want to be isolationist. Access can't be a negative. Definitely depends on the type of access. Is it predatory inherently, right? Like, is it engaging in foreign investment solely to force their economy to operate under a single principle like oil extraction? Backwards isolationism is capitulation to other superpowers and losing standing with partners. Yeah, actually a mess. So it didn't collapse socialism, is my point. Test user, right? Tons of countries, including Poland, huge part of Eastern Europe. Are you saying that Soviet Union's influence was not big enough to compete with the U.S.? It wasn't. Genuinely, that was proven. The American economy was truly a different beast. And again, I mean, the extent of what America actually had to work with is very worth noting. Hypothetical dimension, you are offered to be sold some hard drugs. You say no, you leave. Not a negative. Yeah, I mean, if it works that cleanly, right? Like, this, geographically speaking, is a much more defendable terrain than this. This causes insecurities. When the rift with, when America intentionally pushed detente and pushed conflict between China and Russia, that opened up a whole new front for China to have to cope with. That caused problems, right? These things are incredibly important. Poland as buffer and Eastern Germany. Yeah. Defense was much better. Not better than America's, though. That's the difference. Kids are getting too soft. They haven't been in COD lobbies. Where does that come from? Like, who's talking about that? Where does that come from? This will always be, like, this is always going to be the most defendable geographical region on this planet. Period. Right? The river system, the extent of coastline, like, this is it. This is the geographical perfection. On top of that, we have the most arable land in the world. We have ports that can literally outmanage pretty much any other port on the planet. Different beast because it was based on capitalism. Thus, we would need an experiment to have Soviet Union based on capitalism and US being socialism, and then we could say for sure. But that's just theoretical, right? It's not necessarily a reason. My argument is not whether one is better or not. It's that the Cold War victory did not prove one to be right, right? If it did, we still wouldn't be having this conversation. To be fair, Canada wouldn't want to fight. They just let them in. They asked nicely. That's vulnerability to the U.S. Yeah, I mean, Canada is not a threat. That's like Canadians are just. First off, they have one province that's worth anything. Wait, which one's Alberta? Isn't it this one? Oh no. No, it's this one. Okay. One province that holds up the entire rest of it. So that's not a threat. And then Mexico, the fucking entire border is mountains. Like, the whole border is mountains. Are you lower class? I guess so. Maybe? Sure. I don't give a fuck. Every developed economy is a mixed economy. Trying to talk about this either or statement is a bit silly. Yeah. Mixing both private markets and public spending on shared services. Yeah, but not to the extent. Like, China is obviously the most mixed economy out of the entire grouping. If America is entirely a capitalist structure, but That's just my point, is that the Cold War was not victory for one or the other. Makes sense. Socialists just want other people's money while doing nothing. I don't even think I've said my opinion. I don't even think we've talked about my opinion. You've just been asking about like race questions randomly. Poland turned free market in 1990, joined EU, and now is a developed country, pretty strong in Europe. Are you saying that has nothing to do with Poland abandoning socialism and fully embracing capitalism? I would say it has a lot more to do with its integration into international system. I think an international market is incredibly beneficial for the development of any society, regardless of what its economic theories are, right? As you can see by China, for example, right? China did, when it embraced capitalist principles under Deng Xiaoping, it did begin to have more economic growth. When it really started to snowball was when it was introduced to the World Trade Organization in 1999. That's when it fucking took off. Right? Mixed economy too. The one difference is that the state can arbitrarily seize private corporations and destroy the parliament. Yeah. China does this thing where, like, if say, like, let's just use Yu Yang, right? Let's say they put someone in charge of Yu Yang and he did a really good job while he was in charge of Yu Yang. They would take him, the governor of Yu Yang, and move him to Xinjiang. And they'd be like, all right, now do it there. Socialism does not really see international markets as beneficial because it creates inequality since people can make profits, right? That's not exactly the point, though. The Soviets did have their own form of an international market. They just didn't have the fucking concept of a working trade system. One CEO publishing memoirs criticizing the CCP and he got dismissed and disappeared. Yeah. Yeah, that too. Yeah, that too. Right, the difference, what was the point? Where are we? Lack of access, yes. So there's nothing inherently that a socialist country wouldn't trade with other nations. That's like that is a death wish. That's insane, right? The reason Venezuela is in so much trouble is because of the sanctions imposed upon it, right? Its economy is faltering, not because it is socialist, because it doesn't have a way to get past the sanctions. Their own flavor of fucked up? Yes. Yes. Which I think a lot of people would learn a lot if they would admit that. Lack of concept of working trade system in socialism shows the weakness of socialism. But that wasn't a full concept in capitalism either. That was really forged by America, right? The closest thing prior to it was Britain. America forged it literally as a response to World War II. And now we are actively watching a uber capitalist America talk about walking away from it, right? Like, you are actively watching Donald Trump, the prototypical capitalist, go, maybe I'll just put tariffs on everything. Love Cuba, and I do not like its government, but I recognize they are not like China and North Korea. They do try to implement reforms to stabilize their own situation. Still oppressive, but it's more nuanced. And I mean, maybe this is more of like a military historical perspective, right? But nations that have a quote-unquote threat this much larger than them, very close to them, always tend to be oppressive. Like, they tend to be more authoritarian. It's more of like a defense response in most cases, right? This is the prototypical example of this is literally the Cuban Missile Crisis happens because Cuba asks for missiles after America fails to invade it, fails to reconquer it. Falling socialism is effectively economic lack of access to lending markets and international trade, and the literal existential struggle between the US and the Soviets, yes. Yeah, the existential struggle is the key part. Don't forget the existential struggle, which was, again, why the Soviet Union was created, was to lock it in that struggle. Cuba didn't ask for the missiles, just had to work with the Soviet Union, and Castro agreed, yes. The US didn't just refuse to partner with him. The U.S. literally tried to reconquer it. Fucking JFK was literally having plans drawn up for the reconquest of Cuba. Love the U.S., yes. Existential struggle, literally about life, right? It was literally a capitalist U.S. versus Soviet Russia, right? Saddened by Kennedy's death, he had some principles, yeah. But, you know, the CIA also did some pretty interesting things to try and get his mustache to fall off, but, you know, these things happen. Life is about economic conditions, right? What do you mean by that? That's an incredibly vague statement. That is an incredibly vague statement. I would not say that life is solely about economic conditions, no. Yeah, that's incredibly vague. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, you wanna let's fucking light up a joint. What is life, bro? I know the answer. 42. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh shit. It's a matter of life and death. It is literally an ideological struggle, right? This is the argument for the again Trotsky's argument was that capitalist nations were not going to allow a Soviet or a socialist or a communist nation to exist in their periphery. Period. It would become a matter of life and death. They would make it their goal to destroy it. And again, if you ever study the French Revolution, uh, it's pretty important to note that right after the French Revolution happens, after they capture Louis, after they arrest Louis and they try him and they behead him, the monarchies that neighbor them declare war on them. Like, this is the issue. This is what is really the problem, right? Revolutions do not stand on their own. They almost can't. That is why Napoleon had to act the way he did to a large extent. There was no way to defend that revolution and what it had done to everybody else's form of government, right? This is why Napoleon gets a lot of the flack for creating modern Germany, because Napoleon exported his revolution so that he would have a buffer to exist in, right? He exported the revolution to Germany, and that is, why they ended up in love with nationalism, but, we all know how that turned out. French Revolution was a huge fuck up. Debatable. Have food on the table, you live, right? So if you have a job because there's good labor market, so you earn money, you can buy stuff because there's good market for foods and services. Isn't existence basically based on good economy that supports the population? Wait, if you have food on the table, you live, right? So if you have a job because there's good labor market, so you earn money and you can buy stuff because there's good market for foods and services, isn't existence basically based on good economy that supports the population? That's under the like fixed assumption that fucking the basic necessities of life have to be uh based upon market principles, right? That the basic necessities like food and water have to be things you have to fucking have a job and make wages for, right? Created a despotic government with 500,000 dead and people still starving. Like, what? So you agree with Metternich that it was better that the world stayed under monarchies? Or like, revolutions are revolutions, they happen. I just want to see their faces when America refused to pay back the Revolutionary War loan France gave them because they owed it to the monarchy, not France, and then allied the British in the next step too. Unbelievable. This is when I realized it was never about taxes. Yeah, the U.S. government had been very skeptical of the French revolutionaries. The whole alien, yeah, because of their impetus. Yeah.
In the editorial spectrum of UK media as The Guardian, with the fun quirk of being partly owned by a Russian oligarch and
economy can effectively determine who will survive an existential struggle. Yes, in the struggle between nations, your economy is incredibly important. In conflict and warfare, an economy is incredibly important. Yes. But that doesn't really prove either of our points. That just proves that to be a actively competitive nation in conflict, you need a strong economy. That's just like base fact. People tend not to like copycats. Dog, the French did not copy the Americans in any way, shape, or form. That's not these revolutions are very different.
allegedly part owned by the government of Saudi Arabia. The tweet linked to an article which detailed the publication of a new research paper written by an economist called Rebecca Lowe. The paper argues that with commercial ventures such as SpaceX, Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin gaining momentum, along with plenty of other less high-profile initiatives, the time has come to establish a system through which individuals, and by extension corporations, can take ownership of portions of the moon and use those patches of moonland.
Yeah, a very conservative one. So that's why it's typically called a war for independence and not a revolution. Already working, yeah. Literally, it was just transferable institutions. Winged it with no semblance of structure. Yeah, I mean, until Napoleon shows up, there's no semblance of structure. Other than, fucking Robespierre's nonsense. Turned into paranoia, yes. But that's, it's also, like, historically speaking, the paranoia is something that starts before the revolution, right? The revolution stems from the paranoia, and then is amplified by the revolution. Murder, death, but then again, there were a bunch of Nepo babies all Betty Bush. Yeah, like, no, obviously the killing of fucking everybody mercilessly is bad, right? The fucking beheading is crazy, but to say that the French monarchy was a structure that should exist is just right. And this is so this is what I meant by the Metternich post. Clemens von Metternich is was the Austrian prime minister during the conflict, during the Napoleonic Wars, and after the Napoleonic Wars, mostly out of disdain for the French Revolution, even though he was a quote unquote liberal, and he believed that monarchy was corrupt and bad, he did everything in his power to fight to maintain monarchy, to the point that he killed revolutionaries. He had revolutionaries murdered to defend monarchism that he didn't believe was good, because order above all else, right? The liberal motto. That is why I wrote the earlier that Cold War was primarily economic conflict between two economic systems, capitalism versus socialism, and basically capitalism allowed for better survival in the existential struggle, and that is how I would say Cold War showed that capitalism is better than socialism, and its ability to wage war is the last few steps to that argument, right? Inherently, capitalism is a step on imperialism, right? That's the idea. And you keep talking about how much you've read Marx. Have you read like Lenin's stuff and everything out of curiosity? Because the idea of socialism and communism is not to wage conflict, right? Was hungry, but they rebelled to finally get some bread reform, not for high ideals. Hi, Lisa. What's up? Wanted to abolish the monarch. Jacobins just used them? Yes. Paine almost got murdered by these fuckers. We supported their efforts somewhat. Left unattended will collapse on itself. That's always been the idea, right? That's why we need regulations. Well, are we switching topics? That's you're good with that? We're on the, or at least at like a base level of agreement, I would assume. Twitch, it's all ADHD vibing. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're just talking.
To turn a profit. We'll return to the report itself in a moment, but back on Twitter, the Independent's tweet
Have a good night, sheep poster. Take care, dude.
Promoting the article had gone what I'd describe as very mildly viral. It wasn't exactly Will Smith slapping Chris Rock or the Crazy Frog or anything, but on the small corner of Twitter that my digital self calls home, this was absolutely the post of the day. The response was, to put it mildly, not positive. I scrolled for a long time while writing.
Honestly, food doesn't sound like the worst idea. Fuck, it is like 7 p.m. Okay, yeah. I am probably gonna end it there. How do I go to the full cam? There's the full cam. Nice. Let's see if there's anyone online. Let's see if there's anyone to raid. Let's see. Crap. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Lisa. I need food, though. I'm very satisfied. I moved the ball forward because you allowed me to make an argument that Cold War was economic war, and in your response to my earlier comment, you had to admit that indeed was the case. I don't know if I admitted that was the case. Cold War was very much a war of ideology, but not necessarily purely an economic war. People have an open mind, then I can make my case. Yeah, and you got to make your case. I'm back. Welcome back, Micropenis. Let's see. It does not look like there is anyone online. All right, fuck it. No raid. Whatever. Either way, chats were good. Take care, guys. Have a good night. Good night. Appreciate y'all.